Hello, this is Chase Palagi, recording live and broadcasting at your leisure. Thank you for tuning into my channel, and today we are going to take a look at the Cold Steel Survival Rescue Knife. Okay, this is actually a review. Again, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I am now in my knife phase again, as you might be able to tell, and I just felt it incumbent upon myself to give the SRK the review it so richly deserves. So let's go ahead and get started. Actually to start, I'll just say that this knife reminds me an awful lot of the fallkniven S1, which is right here. As far as size is concerned, it might compare a little closer to the A1, but if we take a look and we actually line the blade portions up, you'll notice it's very, very similar in actual blade or cutting length there, okay? Same sort of design and all of that, and so I wanted to put this up here and maybe go back and forth and just kind of compare the two there. So let's go ahead and cut to the chase here. How did this thing handle? This thing was awesome, okay? The 6-inch blade is just about the perfect size, and it just works very well at cutting like fuzz sticks or even more delicate tasks. Some knives just kind of feel awkward when messing with smaller stuff, and I just didn't find that to be the case here. In fact, really to the contrary. It might even sound funny, but this knife was really a joy to handle. It was comfortable, sharp, it held a good edge, it just did everything I asked of it, and for that reason, I'm going to deem this knife a top choice for those looking for versatility, which is going to go ahead and bring us to the primary purpose of this knife. Honestly, its purposes are so broad. I mean, just because it is so versatile, it's hard to know where to start. But this is kind of Cold Steel's flagship model for good reason. It's just a very well-rounded knife for, camping. You could use it for bushcraft, deployment knife, field dressing, large game, or really anything in between. The out-of-box edge was absolutely fantastic. In fact, I have found that Cold Steel is one of the more consistent when it comes to great out-of-box edges. Now, the AUS 8A steel is capable of a super keen edge, and it came with just that. The steel is actually one of my favorites to sharpen just because it's so easy to work with, and it's very rewarding for what little effort you put into it. So, in short, it's just a good, respectable mid-grade steel that works very well for most applications. It is considered a stainless steel, however, it can rust if you do neglect your blades in like wet and damp, humid environments. But for normal use, I doubt you're going to have any rust issues. So, is this steel as good as the fallkniven's VG10 laminated? Okay. I'm going to tell you straight up, no, it isn't, okay? But if you are looking for something close to the VG10, the Cold Steel offers the Sanmai 3 version for this blade as well. And although, it is close to VG10 laminated, but the Sanmai lacks the vanadium and the cobalt. And if I was forced to guess, I might give the edge to the VG10 for edge retention. Now, that's just speculation, guys. In fact, if this were true, it'd be true by such a narrow margin, it probably wouldn't even be worth mentioning. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the Sanmai 3 version is also laminated steel, which means what they did is they sandwiched the VG1 steel in between a very tough stainless, something like a 420J, like the fallkniven here, which is a low carbon and high chromium steel that results in a very tough and stainless exterior, but you get the cutting edge that is much harder and more wear resistant, which is going to be made out of that VG1. So which one is best between the Sanmai and the regular AUS 8 here? Now, to answer honestly, I've never worked with the Sanmai, but based on research, like I was saying, it's going to be very similar to the VG10 laminated. Now, if money isn't an issue, sure, I'd probably go with the Sanmai 3, but since it normally is, I think the original AUS 8 will probably surprise you with its performance. But that being said, there's just something about the Sanmai 3 version. It really is a beautiful knife. I've just always liked the idea of laminated steel. Now, I didn't go with it this time because I do have the fallknivens, but I think it would be an excellent choice. Now that kind of brings us to the design here. Its blade thickness is 3/16 of an inch. Okay, and that's going to make it a suitable candidate for batoning if that's your thing. But aside from that, the thickness combined with this saber ground blade is going to make it a very rugged yet surprisingly agile knife that once again can be used for just about anything. Okay. Now the coating is referred to by Cold Steel as Tough X. Okay. As you can see, it is kind of a smooth finish, and actually, I was surprised at how durable it actually is. You can see it is starting to wear, but just like any knife coating, it's going to wear. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But anyway, I think it held up okay, and when this does wear off, you're probably just going to want to do general maintenance, put mineral oil or something similar on it, but not that big a deal. Now, as far as the blade shape and design, the SRK sports this clip point, which has a very impressive tip. Now, that is how you do a tip. Very, very sharp, very pointy. I like that a lot. For like more precise applications, I'm just really digging that. As far as the ricasso is concerned, honestly, I don't know what they were doing here. That is one part of this blade I do not get. Now, at a minimum, I think they could have ground that out and made kind of a choil area for you to kind of choke up on the knife, like a finger groove. But frankly, what I would have liked to see is something like the S1 here, where the blade goes almost all the way to the handle. Not that big a deal. It's just something I noticed. It just seems like a waste of blade length to me, honestly. But anyway, the handle is 4 3/4 inches long and is referred to again as the Crayex by Cold Steel. But this handle, it's just excellent in just about every way there. It's just very comfortable. It yields excellent traction, and I noticed that the traction was not affected much by water. In fact, if anything, it might have even helped it a little bit. Try to get a close-up on that just so you can see what it's made out of there. It just makes for a fantastic grip. And the way they design the grip itself, it's very comfortable in hand, and you can use it for a long period of time. Notice there's no guard up top, which I like. It normally gets in my way if there is one, but they did a great job with this underneath. And it shows a little bit of traction there, a little lanyard hole for those who are into that sort of thing. But anyway, I do prefer this size of grip to the fallknivens. Although it is hard to tell, the SRK sports a full tang. Now, if I were to nitpick here, I would probably prefer a tang, a protruding pommel, like on the S1 here. But again, not a big deal. Like I said, that's just nitpicking. Now, the sheath, okay, it is a proprietary Securex sheath. I'm laughing because I just think it's funny that they put an X at the end of a mundane knife accessory and they call it proprietary. I think that's hilarious. But anyway, this is just Cold Steel's version of Kydex, essentially. It's actually very well done, though. The one thing I really like, though, is the belt loop opens up, so you don't have to take your belt off to put this knife on. You can fish it through. It will be secured with this Velcro and then that snap there. Okay, so they did give you a big big opening for larger duty belts, stuff like that. The retention in the sheath is actually fantastic. Okay, it clicks in. It's really not going anywhere. There's no rattle or anything like that. In fact, to get it out, you kind of have to put your thumb there and pull out. Okay, you can use its second source of retention, which is these snaps, which is pretty commonplace for a sheath like this. But all in all, I would say that the sheath is a win here. You can see that they gave you ample spots here to put lashing through. You got the eyelets and all that. It's well done. It's fantastic, especially at this price point. I think they did a great job all the way around. Now, it is ambidextrous in just about every way too. So anyway, you know, that's just kind of a quick look at the Cold Steel SRK. Just some final thoughts on this knife. Like I was saying from the start, I think this is a fantastic option, especially for price. Now, if you're looking for a good, just general, overall good knife, I would say this is a very viable option. Now, I did a K-bar review, a USMC K-bar review a while back, and I still love that knife. I think it's great, and I still use it, but I would rate this every bit as high as that. Matter of fact, in some areas, I might like it a little more. It does have a full tang. It has that same clip point, that same saber ground blade. I do like the tip of the Cold Steel a little bit better. It's not quite as long of a blade. You get about an extra inch with the K-bar, but I love this handle, although I like the K-bars too. Again, lanyard hole, you know, they both have great sheaths. But I would say, like I said, an excellent option at the, you know, I forget what these even go for anymore, you know, $70, $80 or something like that. But for that price, I think it's honestly a no-brainer. But anyway, that is my review of the Cold Steel SRK. You guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If you guys have any questions, like always, feel free to leave your mark in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, favorite, subscribe, you know, all of that good stuff. Anyway, until next time, this is Chase, signing off.